Go for it. Go for it, V.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's Wednesday. You know what day it is? It's Hump Day, and it's the time. It's that time we unleash that lovable furball. You know him as the master of monetary mayhem. You know him as the czar of cryptos. You know him as the pathfinder of the road to roota. He is the Google map himself to the road to roota. He is the man who wears his heart on his sleeve and spaghetti sauce stains on his tie. The men hate him. The women love him. He is my personal buddy and friend, the one and only Bix Weir. Bix, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I was late because I was listening to Clif High live.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it, man.
They'll repost.
I was forced to exercise today. It was terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah, my office door was kicked down, and my wife came in and grabbed me by the back of my neck, threw my sneakers on my feet, put a jacket on me and a scully on my head and gloves on my hands, and told me to go outside and walk. Just do something productive.
Did it work?
Well, I hid in the pizza shop for 30 hours. For 30 minutes. Then I came back, and after a couple of calzones, and wash it down with some espresso and some shuidao. Oh, I'm ready.
All right, so I got one for you.
Okay.
So I listened to your show this morning, and everybody emailed me. What is V saying about Bitcoin taking over Litecoin?
Can it happen?
What is he talking about?
Can it happen?
Well, anything can happen in the cryptos, but the biggest difference to me between Bitcoin and Litecoin is the speed of implementation.
Right.
So Litecoin being a mini clone of Bitcoin, anything that happens in Bitcoin is going to happen in Litecoin 10 times faster.
Got it.
So the comment, I think you were talking about some new.
There was a new test that they did with the Lightning Network, and I had one of my guys a couple of days ago tell me if they make the Lightning Network work perfectly for Bitcoin, where it's as fast, if not faster, than Litecoin, and the transactions are cheaper, then what's the point?
Wait. No, yeah. Lightning Network will go on, can go on Litecoin already. Mm-hmm. Lightning Network is not solely just for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The Lightning Network Charlie's already done a transaction on the Lightning Network for Litecoin. And the thought that they can't even get SegWit implemented fully.
Right.
I think it's like 10-15% or something like that are running SegWit.
Yeah.
Bitcoin,
exactly.
Bitcoin is locked up. Bitcoin has lost the network effect as far as the speed part. And Bitcoin is the digital gold, and just what those core developers wanted. Question is, do we need digital gold in the future? Gold is great when a currency is collapsing because it's the go-to type of currency. But if we believe in the crypto world and we believe in the mathematics of these cryptocurrencies, I don't see much of a reason to have digital gold. I would rather have real gold than digital gold. But the thought that it's kind of like when Jeff Berwick said that EOS was the Ethereum killer.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God! Everybody buy EOS and Ethereum's dead. No, Ethereum is not dead. Ethereum is really slow right now because it's so popular.
Right.
Ethereum is about to go through another upgrade and implement Casper, which will be almost instantaneous. And that's the thing. And it's got the network effect. It's got. The reason that Bitcoin will never, ever, ever come back to its original cachet is because it's lost the network effect as far as speed and cost. This is what Roger Ver was screaming about for so long, is that what these core developers decided to do was to lock up Bitcoin, not expand for the need and use aspect that we're hitting right now. Right now is the time, and when the banks crash, it's really going to be pathetic to watch Bitcoin disappear, literally. I believe that everything else will be better than Bitcoin if everybody needs to use it. And SegWit is not, they can't even get SegWit implemented, much less, can you imagine the drama around, implementing Lightning Network in Bitcoin when it's already in use in Litecoin and already being adapted by people like Amazon and Facebook and Apple Computer. And Litecoin was always seen by the core developers as the test network for Bitcoin. Well, the problem is that test network has kicked ass compared to Bitcoin, and everything that Bitcoin does has to be open source software, so it all can be adapted to Litecoin before Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, you need the consensus of all these people who hate each other. So it's,
yeah, right.
The reality of something leapfrogging something like Ethereum or something like
Bix, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. What the heck is wrong with these core developers over at Bitcoin? What is their problem, man?
To me, it came down to they are the newly, very extremely rich techie nerds who want to protect their money, protect their wealth. And in order to do that, they said, well, we got to lock it up. It's too risky to expand the blocks, double the size, triple size, quadruple the size. We're going to lock up Bitcoin. We're going to lock up our wealth first, and then we'll move on. There's also conspiracy theories about it's trying to slow the growth and acceptedness of cryptocurrencies by making it really expensive and really hard to use and really slow. I mean, it's so ridiculous now; it's become useless. As a means of exchange. You can sit there and say, oh, it's digital gold. Well, fine. You can have your digital gold, but in a monetary system that is based on cryptocurrency and mathematics, do you really need digital gold? And if all the other cryptocurrencies fail, I'd rather have gold than digital gold, because there'd be a reason. I think if all the other cryptos failed, Bitcoin would fail as well. And then you want real gold. You don't want digital gold. So it was, I think it was idiotic. I jumped and screamed and yelled about it. But what it did something amazing to the industry and the community. It opened people's eyes to alternatives. And those alternatives are really cool alternatives, especially on the tokenization side. Business models that tokenize. They're saying we don't even need currency. We'll use a token within our ecosystem. And it's a way to perfect the barter system, really, because you can tokenize anything you want within your ecosystem of a business model. And so then all of a sudden, a bread maker really can interact and barter with a house builder, because the house builder can tokenize his business. So it is really interesting that the fight that happened in Bitcoin really opened people's eyes to all the other possibilities there are out there that are blockchain related, that are better than Bitcoin. And it's the Bitcoin core guys who are going to be crying in their soup. They call them Bitcoin maximalists. They say Bitcoin's the only cryptocurrency and the only one that counts and the only one that matters. Everything else is a cheap knockoff. I mean, I'm so sick of those people. But I literally don't even think about them anymore, because we've moved on. We've moved on from Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin do well in the future? Probably. I think the biggest threat to Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is no longer 21 million coins. It's 21 million coins plus all the splits and forks and everything else.
Sure.
And that's just kind of the way it is. And they're jumping up and down saying, "Oh, it's great. It's a Bitcoin dividend." Well, it's a great Bitcoin dividend when it happens once or twice. The more it happens, the less value is going to be concentrated in Bitcoin. And then people are going to look at other places where there is a more defined quantity of coins that will ever be mined. So Bitcoin still has problems, but we've moved on. And I think humanity, it's funny because I'm happy that all this, infighting happened, because it really opened my eyes to other things going on in the crypto world. And those other things are better than having a cryptocurrency. this tokenization. I think it's kind of like going back to when I was arguing about monetary systems, and I've read all the books on what makes the best money, and it always stems from the original concept that the best form of exchange is barter. Peer-to-peer barter, right? Peer-to-peer. One person has something of value, another person has another thing of value, and you exchange it. Mm-hmm. And because that wasn't feasible before, money had to be invented and created and used, and all of a sudden the value, everybody thought the value was in the money, but no, the value is in the usefulness of that money, that I can exchange this money and store this money, and it's what got us past the barter system. With the new tokenization, we can go back to that barter system very simply by tokenizing each and every business or thing of value that someone's giving. If someone's giving you something that's much more valuable than what you have to trade for it, you can tokenize it and things like that. Yeah. And that's I think that's the next evolution of the cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency mindset. I think it's happening very fast. If you look at some of these companies that have tokenized, that are tokenizing, they're really rising very fast in relation to Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, they really are. I mean, look at Ripple. There's a myriad of other.
Let's talk about Ripple. Let's talk about Ripple. Ripple is a dog. Ripple is not decentralized. Ripple is the bankster coin owned and controlled by the banksters. They drove it up because they print money, because they can. They drove it up, got a bunch of people in, and now they're slamming it down. They're going to do that every quarter because they got to book profits.
Right.
So Ripple is ridiculous. It's massively manipulated and is not decentralized.
But that's a good thing.
Not being decent. You want to be.
I'm just joking. Let me ask you this,
Ripple.
Bix.
Yeah.
Go finish up with your Ripple. And
my only thought about Ripple is it's a bankster playground, and I don't want to play in that sand pit.
Living in a bankster's paradise.
And people are excited about it because it went up. Of course it went up because the banksters were buying it. They print money out of thin air and they buy it. And they're going to dump it. And it is a way they can churn money out of people who really don't understand what Ripple is.
Yeah. What's your take on Clif High's latest live thing? You were talking about that earlier in the program. What were some of the highlights when you were watching Clif?
I think it's still going on, truthfully. But it is awesome because he was talking about, he wasn't really talking about cryptos. He's probably going to talk about cryptos later, but he was talking about the stuff he used to talk about in the Alta reports.
Oh, the woo.
Oh, the woo-woo world and where we come from and what is the nature of humanity and death and CERN.
Drop it on us, Bix. Drop it on us.
Oh, my God.
Tell us.
I can't even repeat it. The guy's so damn smart, but it makes sense. And he talked about the fact that the Earth does not revolve around the sun. No planets revolve around the sun because it's going, what is it?
An elliptical orbit?
80 million miles per hour around the... Yeah. We spin around in a cone behind the sun as the sun is moving through the Milky Way at this massive speed. There's no way that the planets speed up and slow down to get ahead of the sun and then behind the sun. The sun is like we're being dragged. The gravity of the sun is dragging planets behind it in a spiral motion. So that if you're looking at our solar system from directly behind the sun, yes, it looks like the planets are spinning all around the sun, but in reality, they're spinning. And there's a great YouTube video on it. It's called, I forgot the name of it. Damn it. But we don't travel around the sun and back and around the sun and back every year. We are being dragged in the coma of the sun behind it, spinning kind of in and being dragged behind it at different. I am totally butchering what I used to be able to say real easily, but if you look up, you go to YouTube and look up what do they call it? Yeah, heliocentric versus something. Anyway, we're being dragged behind the sun and in a circular pattern, just like with every other planet. And so we're not passing up the sun and coming back, because the fact is the sun is moving at so many millions of miles per hour or per second around the Milky Way. There's no way that planets can speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down. That's not the way it works. Mm-hmm. But we've been lied to all this time. And then you get the flat earthers out there saying, "Oh my God, they're this flat because I can't see the curve." I mean,
of course, we're in a flat Earth that's about as thin as a wafer, and we're spinning.
Yeah, and the South Pole is actually a wall that's built all the way around our flat Earth.
That's it. That makes perfect sense to me, Bix.
I know.
And everybody who's built and every engineer who does meticulous calculations on developing satellites, he's full of crap.
Well, the math doesn't work, so they try to twist the math. I don't know.
I give up as well. I mean, they're everywhere, man. The flat earthers, they stalk me.
Okay,
they stalk me, like literally.
I am going to find Okay, here's the YouTube channel that shows. It's an awesome YouTube channel. It's DJ Sadhu, DJ SADHU.
DJ Sadhu.
DJ Sadhu, and he shows a great graphic of how the planets are spinning behind the sun as the sun's moving through space.
Yeah,
and space is not a vacuum.
It's the final frontier.
The cone that we are in is a vacuum because the sun is plowing through space and burning all this crap off as it does that. But so we're in a vacuum as we travel behind the sun, but space is not a vacuum. Everything everything is.
You just made my head spin, bro.
They've been lying to us for so long about everything, but that's
why lie about that? Why would they lie about that?
Why lie about anything? Why lie that we humans didn't have advanced technology, and then why lie about the Egyptians making the pyramids, and why lie about the gold in the Grand Canyon? Why lie about our educational system? It's all control. It's all power and control. And that's what we're breaking free of. And it's really exciting. Why lie about, space aliens and our secret space program that I pull out my night vision goggles every night. I look up in the sky and there's ships flying around. I've seen the triangle ships, the cigar ships. I've seen fleets flying around way up in the upper atmosphere. Why lie? Why lie? Because they keep us under control. We are the sheep. They keep us docile with their chlorine that they put in the water. You name it, they are doing it to us, but we're going to break free very soon. Yeah. And that's the stuff Clif was talking about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the old Clif High. I'm sure he'll get into the cryptos because, cryptos are what is allowing us to break free. Here's the weird thing. I listened to another interview from Chris Duane and Rory Hall. And I think, truthfully, I think these guys have lost it, completely lost it. But the problem, and I had the same problem too when I was a silver bug and a gold bug. The problem is there's no solution anymore with that scenario. We'll never go back onto a gold standard. We'll never go back onto a silver standard because nobody has any anymore. It always.
The majority of silver has been eaten up in the industry, man.
Well, yeah, true. But even the gold standard, all the gold is still there. But we don't need it anymore because we needed it in the past because all unbacked fiat monetary systems crashed. And this one has been lasted the longest since 1971. And the only reason it's lasted is computer manipulation of the markets. I've proven that. That's what roota means, root A. So the reality of, nobody says, even the gold and silver bugs. I'm like, okay, what then? If you don't like the cryptos, what is your solution for the banks crashing? And they say, no, we go on to a gold and silver standard. I said, yeah, you have gold, but your neighbor down the street doesn't. No governments have any silver. Mm-hmm. How are we going to redistribute wealth to humanity in your scenario? That would mean millions, if not billions of people would die. Is that really what you want? You want to go back onto a gold and silver standard because it's been done for 5,000 years? The only reason they turned to gold and silver is because people still had it. And people, silver and gold are gone as money.
Yeah.
Nobody has it anymore. It is massively concentrated into a few hands, and they're not going to give it up because they understand that is the money of the past. Mm-hmm. So until one of the gold and silver bugs stands up and say, "Hey, Bix, here's your solution to how we're going to transition from an unbacked fiat system to a gold and silver standard, and here's what that gold and silver standard is when nobody has any," I've yet to hear a solution. Yes, they can bitch and moan about the problems. They can say they hate cryptocurrencies, but give us a solution for this problem without killing millions of people.
They don't have that.
Because there is no solution. The solution used to be
outside of
that's all there was. And everybody had something.
And everybody had it.
Yes. And nobody had. I mean, it would be more feasible if we went on to a standard where somebody had something. Everybody has change in their pockets. Why don't we go on to a in the United States, just change. Let's just use change, the zinc and copper change that we have in our pockets. I mean, that would be more feasible than gold and silver that nobody has.
Right. Right. And then the gold bugs will be like, well, you can't do that because that's zinc and copper. Those are base metals.
Well, but it's more feasible.
Exactly the point. It's more feasible. And I want to draw on history on this a little bit that most people don't realize. The biggest the biggest economic boom in Roman history was a time when their coinage was actually just tin, and it was backed by nothing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But it was
in the hands of the people.
Well, listen to what Ben Franklin wrote in the beginnings of the colonies. They were using paper money that weren't backed by anything, and they were absolutely more vibrant, and there was no homeless people, and it was doing very well.
Right.
And then England came in and said, "Hey, you can't use paper money. You have to use gold and silver," and nobody had any, and it was, or they said silver, I think, at the time. And that's what, supposedly that's why the American Revolution happened, is because England jumped in and said, no, you can't use paper money. It's kind of the reverse of where we are now.
Right. Exactly. Ethereum's on a roll, Bix.
Yes. Ethereum. Well, here we go again about Ethereum it has the network effect of the platforms. Now, when EOS came out and Jeff Berwick, my buddy Jeff, he's awesome. I'm speaking in Anarchapulco this year. He's awesome. He's been fighting the fight against the Bitcoin core guys too. And I've learned a ton from Jeff about, living without a government and stuff like that. So I am speaking at the Anarchapulco.
Is he still in Acapulco?
Yeah, of course. He travels around.
Dangerous place in the world.
No, are you kidding? I've been there. Have you been there?
Oh, dude, I just saw an undercover report on Acapulco. Okay, it's dangerous. There's cartels there.
Talk to Jeff about it. It's not dangerous. I was there last year. I'm going there this year. Ron Paul's the headline speaker this year. That's really cool, by the way.
Wait, in Acapulco?
Yeah.
I'll be there with a flat jacket.
It's big. Oh my god, Acapulco's awesome.
I'm coming with CJ.
All right, good. You should. We'll party. Don't laugh. Put it on your calendar.
When is it?
February, third week in February, I think. Something like. Go to Anarchapulco.
I still have my winter fur on.
I know.
I won't be ready to go.
I don't want to see you on the beach.
It's a terrible sight.
Okay, really quickly back to Ethereum, because I think it's important. Ethereum is not going to get leapfrogged. Ethereum, the community is amazing. The network effect is amazing. Yes, it's very slow right now. It's a pain in the ass, but they are, moving to a proof of stake type of system, and with the Casper upgrade and all this stuff. I mean, literally, it could happen any day, probably the first quarter, I would guess. And it's going to leapfrog everything that all the followers are trying to do. And, companies and ideas that come about like EOS, and they said, oh, it's going to be so much faster. Here's the problem. The amount of time when you introduce a new software, the amount of problems that they have are going to be very hard to fix. You got to get it out. You got to get it working. You got to get it. It has to break down. It has to be fixed, and it has to be anti-fragile. And that's what Ethereum has been going through this whole time. And by that time, Ethereum will have leapfrogged many more times. So it's one of those things is you can't easily replace something that's already got the network effect. But it is possible. If you look at Bitcoin as a means of exchange, I think it is in the process of getting replaced because of the idiotic move that the core guys did. And made, they locked it up and made Bitcoin more expensive and so much.
But I thought there were 11 people that care about humanity.
No, they care about locking up their money and making it
assholes
safe. Well, no, it has opened the world's eyes to other options besides Bitcoin. So I'm sure the universe had a reason for them being there. For my purposes, it opened up the thought that, hey, we can go to a barter system using tokens.
Right. And
it's much better than a money system using something like Bitcoin or even Litecoin. I think Litecoin will be the means of exchange while needed. So for the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to need a means of exchange. And Litecoin using the Lightning Network and all the partnerships it's going to announce this year, I think Litecoin will be the place to be right now, but it won't be the place to be always. At some point, barter will go back to mainly bartering, and barter with tokens is possible.
Right.
So,
which
in the meantime, Litecoin is the rumors. Rumors are funny because you can say all you want that something is being replaced, but until it's actually put into application and really does remove something from the top spot, it's not like these guys are going to sit down and rest on their laurels and say, hey, I invented Ethereum and now it's out there and it'll never get faster, never get better, and none of the problems will be fixed. No, they're constantly fixing it. And the new ideas haven't even been tested yet. And every software, when it comes to market, breaks down, the flaws are found, and it takes years and years to get this stuff implemented. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Ethereum has anything to worry about as being the go-to platform for business, building businesses on, for the decentralized apps and all that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of rumors that are out there, like, for instance, the whole Amazon thing that Amazon's going to start incorporating Litecoin. This will be huge if that happens, man.
Well, there are a lot of clues that something like that is in the works. For example, Charlie Lee selling all his Litecoin.
Right.
Why would Charlie Lee sell his Litecoin? Well, he said so. Because everything he tweeted and said was causing the price to move. That's not really ingenuous. There's something more there, because he also said that he's putting more energy into Litecoin, and in other ways he will profit from Litecoin's growth. And let's just say, for example, that he sold all his Litecoin to Amazon. Mm-hmm. And they're going to set up a Lightning Network distribution channel through Amazon, because that's how Lightning Network works. You get your retailer, a centralized retailer, and that works best for the Lightning Network because these are off-chain transactions. So, if I was Amazon, oh my God, is there any better currency to use than Litecoin to do Lightning Network type transactions and have the security of SegWit and all that stuff? No, it is Litecoin would be the right pick, and I think all of the rumors are absolutely true. But there's more than just Amazon. Once Amazon does it, everybody else is going to jump on board, and then they're going to legalize it. It's already legal, but they're going to promote it as, oh my God, we have a way out of the old system without killing everybody trying to go back to a gold and silver standard that nobody has any gold and silver.
Right. Exactly. Trump, is he fit for office?
Every time I hear that, the best thing that Trump did, he had that open, that he had brought all the media into this meeting he was having about DACA, and all that stuff going on right now. And the media stayed for a full hour and watched Trump negotiate and orchestrate. He was the maestro in that room. If you got to watch that video, it's on the YouTube now of Trump assisting in this negotiation. He was masterful at it. And
he's a genius, man.
And how could any idiotic senator say Trump is not mentally fit for office after watching that?
Yeah.
I mean, he had literally the left and the right drooling on him saying, "Oh yeah, we want to get this done." And Trump's like, "Okay, let's get it done. Let's do this, and then we'll do this." And oh my God, it was awesome. And so you got to wonder, you got to go back to those Democratic senators who said, "Is Trump fit for office?" And is he mentally unstable? And say, who were you talking about? And where did you get your information that Trump is not, sound and stable mentally? I mean, why should people get away with just saying this bullshit and then not be called on it after, clearly he was in control of that whole room? If there's any idiots, it was the other congressmen in the press.
Well, there's some crazy psychiatrists who seem to think otherwise. First of all, it's funny. You have these a-hole psychiatrists who, most of which look like they were like doing a couple of lines of glue before they were going on there for an interview.
A line of glue, really?
Well, these people would do a couple of lines of glue. They were sniffing glue.
Okay.
Like they have glue bottles that are opened or nail polish remover, whatever the heck they were sniffing that day. Okay, then they go on the news thing with their eyes like this. I saw this Asian lady. Now, look, Asians have, slanted eyes. This woman's eyes were literally like bugging out. Like, oh my God, like she couldn't blink. They were like huge, like coming out of her skull like a freaking cartoon character. It looked like she was clearly on something. And she's talking about her diagnosis of Trump. I'm like, you stupid, dumb idiot of a woman. First of all, you say you're a psychiatrist. You're in breach of the American Psychiatric Association's rules and guidelines. You can't make assessments in public. Number one. Number two, you haven't diagnosed the person. Number three,
you never even met the person.
You haven't even met the person. You're gonna make a diagnosis. You should have your medical licenses revoked, and you fired from any sort of teaching position you might have at whatever crazy left-wing school you belong to.
But how stupid! It really shows that there is nothing left they can go after him about.
Nothing.
There's just nothing. And yeah, they must be very scared now that. Yeah, I think Trump should have pulled the Band-Aid earlier on getting rid of the pedophiles. And there's two more congressmen who announced that they'll be leaving Congress. A lot of them aren't coming back because they are deeply involved with the really bad stuff. So yeah, you gotta. If people resign from Congress, there's a reason for that. And the reason is they don't want to get caught up, and they don't want. Yeah, I don't think they should be able to run away. But once all this stuff comes out, once they release the Hillary Clinton emails that are on Weiner's laptop, I heard there's videos in there, there's phone conversations, completely treasonous stuff, punishable by death. Not to mention the sick and perverted stuff. So yeah, it's going to get ugly here very soon, and we're starting to see it. But as Clif High says, they have to do it in small increments because we can't handle the truth right now.
Yep. That's what QAnon has said. If the American people were to find out, they'd all be all 99% of them will be in the hospital.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a. I mean, if all the rumors are true, if all the ritual sacrifice stuff is true, can you imagine what that would do to the left-right paradigm? And it's both Democrats and Republicans supposedly that are involved in this, and it's really horrific. But that's what we're fighting, and we have to wake up. We have to be able to jump up and down and say, hey, it's time. We end all this stuff, and yes, it'll be hard, but we're going to have to go through it at some point. Otherwise, things will never change. Exactly. And so that's what we're doing right now. And this is the takedown. This is the battle between the good guys and the bad guys that I've been screaming about for so long. 10 years ago, everybody thought I was insane. And now everybody's like, well, maybe there is some good guys back there.
Yeah. You remember that? I mean, every single dude, I had, you know how many times I had to defend you with
I
people.
do know. I do know.
Exactly.
That's why I shut off my comments, because it's. I mean, I can defend myself.
I had to get on people. I had to rip people. Dude, I had to rip people new ones. If Bix crazy idea. He's crazy. Is he smoking something? He thinks there's good guys? And I'm like, listen, you freaking fruitcake, you keyboard jockeys. Here's the deal. His theory on roota, you're damn straight. It sounds crazy, sounds out there, but when you look around, it freaking actually fits. There's a lot of things that fits. And remember, he's calling it the theory of roota. He's not saying the actual law, because we don't exactly know 100%. Now, in what he's saying,
we do know that the Federal Reserve, that's where all this roota stuff came from.
Bingo! There's a lot of evidence to this. Correct. I
mean, people think I just pull it out of my butt that there's good guys and bad guys, and no, I've been studying this stuff.
Vindicated this year, 2018. Let 2018 go down as the year that Bix Weir has been vindicated about his good guys versus bad guys theory.
Not yet, although in Clif's data, he does say that this is the year that they are going to announce the massive amount.
I heard it's going to be this month.
Grand Canyon.
This month? Oh no, not the Grand Canyon. I thought you mean like arrests. I heard there's going to be some big arrests this month.
No, but all of that goes with it. And I mean, the gold in the Grand Canyon stuff. When I discovered, I first discovered it. It was a front page article in 1912. The massive find of gold in the Grand Canyon, when there was only 100 million ounces of gold in circulation as money at the time, and they're saying billions of ounces of gold are out there, have been found in the Grand Canyon, and then it's all shut down. All kinds of conspiracies. The Smithsonian went in there, and once the Smithsonian gets involved, their job is to hide the reality from humanity. But you should look at the back of the $1 bill. Why in the world would we have a pyramid and little sagebrushes around that pyramid? It's not a pyramid in Egypt. That's a pyramid in the Grand Canyon.
Right.
And that's where all the gold is. And that pyramid on the back of the $1 bill came out in 1935. And in 1935 is when those gold-backed bonds were made as well. And all kinds of things happened in 1935. And I've got some, there's a gold cryptographic bars about a $350 million gold loan with China, and $350 million back in 1933 or 35. And that was some serious money. $20 in gold was 1 ounce, I think, back at that time. So yeah, the insanity of the road to roota is absolutely true in my book, and I keep finding more and more evidence. But in Clif's data, it does have some vindication for roota in 2018, and as related to the amount of gold, both there in Asia with Yamasha's gold, the gold at Chocolate Mountain. There's so much gold out there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think there's a lot of vindication coming from roota.
Yep, absolutely. Bix, we're at the end of the program, man. Would you give out your closing comments and how people could subscribe to your one awesome newsletter as well as your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I post something almost daily on YouTube at Road to Roota, and go to roadtoroota.com, sign up for the free emails, or if you want to get more into depth, have a private road membership that I send out. It used to be 1 salt token and a silver roota coin, the best coin ever made, by the way. But now
that coin is delicious, bro. It is a sexy coin.
It's a good one. I know. It has a cave in the middle of the Grand Canyon and roota running down the Silver Brick Road. But I'm also, I have announced yesterday that I have changed my coins because salt was getting too expensive. And I love salt lending, the cryptocurrency. But the next one is going to be ADEX. And ADEX is going to be a monster in the advertising space. It is going to blow away the criminality of Google ads and YouTube ads.
Yes.
People are going to be demanding something like ADEX, truth and honesty in advertising online. $250 billion industry is, so yeah, that's my next coin is ADEX. And all the coins I've given away so far have done extremely well. Not to mention, Populous and Ethereum and Salt and Veritasium and you name it. So that, go to roadtoroota.com and sign up.
Fantastic. And with that being said, folks, I am the hairy one. He is the man of the hour, the man who is the very roadmap of the road to roota himself, Bix Weir. And you can find me over at roguemoney.net. Follow me on follow the whole entire team on Twitter at the Rogue Money. And also check out the Crypto School, thecryptoschool.io, as well as all the other wonderful things that we offer, like the Silverback for encryption and web surfing and all the other good stuff. With that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, El Cuco.